today's question. How do I tell a good story? What you'll need first is a good starting point. They usually begin something along the lines of, so, funny story. Oh my gosh. Oh, that reminds me. Funny story. That's hilarious. That reminds me. One time you make me laugh, but this will make you laugh more. Story time. As you can see, those examples called for a funny story to follow after them. If you don't tell a funny story, then your friends might just kill you. So, moral of the story is don't put too much pressure on yourself. If it's not going to be funny, don't say it. Just if it's going to be inspirational, tell them you might cry. Don't laugh it off and say it'll be funny because it'll make you look like an evil person. So, the beginning of other stories that are not funny should begin something along the lines of, wow, that's so inspirational. Let me tell you a story that reminds me of that. Well, maybe I'll let you think this over. So what happened this one time? You've run out of things to say. Well, I could tell you the story. You see, what would happen was, no, Mom, I swear it isn't mine. You see, what had happened was, you get the gist. So, other than a outstanding beginning, you need a solid middle. And what's in the solid middle is what frames the whole point of the story. Let me show you. Details are key. Describe what you need to describe so they can see it, smell it. Use interesting language. Just as you would entice a reader in an essay, try to entice your listeners in a story. Tell your tale in a non-typical way. Add exciting adjectives and other stuff to make it more dramatic and awesome. But I warn you now, don't become too long-winded, because after a while all it'll sound like is blah 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 blah. Am I done yet? Blah blah. No, I'm not. Blah blah blah. The next major aspect to telling a good story is the body language. Good body language goes along with what you're saying. The listener understand exactly how you were feeling or how someone else reacted to you during the story. Bad body language distracts the listener from what you're trying to say. It usually is focused on something else entirely. Another thing you will have to master is learning when people are on a time restraint. You can't go on and on and on and on. That's why I said earlier about the too many details, but you can't be moving your body in such ways that they don't have time for that. You need to learn how to summarize. You learned this in English for many, many years. I hope so. You take English again if you haven't learned that. Okay. Another warning. You can't summarize to the point where the story gets boring. Because if you do that, no one will listen and it'll all suck. Now, if you want to go down that funny road, you have to make sure you have a punchline. Now, don't punch them in line at lunch. What you do is you tell the funny part of the story, like the climax of sorts. Once you do this, you don't really need a falling action as you do in a red story, because the people are laughing, happy, and you say, yeah, and it's all done. However, if you feel the need to end it with some teary note to make sure they understand each and every aspect of everything in this world and blah 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 blah, then you go ahead. It's your story. Do with it what you will. The answer, my dear viewers. Enticing intro. Details don't fail. Talk with your body. Summarize before someone flies. And no lax on the climax. Show everybody you can talk with your body.